Like I said, I'm Claudia Johnson. This is our topic. And so we have a very good, diverse set of panelists coming from different states in different experiences from ABLE, which is a very well-respected and well-known legal hotline. We have Jesus Salas and Monica Buckley. From Illinois Legal Aid Online, an excellent program in Illinois that does a lot of technology work for all the LSE programs there and the pro bono projects. We have Dennis Rios, and Dennis is an interpreter, professional translator, and he will be covering some of the work they're doing with an LSET grant, looking at machine translation and content management to expedite the production of multilingual content. And then we also are very lucky to have Leah Margulies, who is the project director for Law Help New York I was going to say California, in New York. I used to live in California. So we're going to start with Monica and Jesus is going to be sharing some research he's been doing, tracking the census and how that information and learning is being applied in his program. So I'm sharing the screen with him right now.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. We're having some concerns trying to put up our census data, but first let me start with this. Good afternoon to everybody. This is Jesus Salas. I'm here with Monica Buckley, our language coordinator for Advocates for Basic Legal Equality in Ohio. One of the things that I wanted to share with you, which is directly impacting our population right now, is that we will be publishing a paper at Management Information Exchange that will basically show all the demographic trendings that are happening in the last 20, 30 years. At the same time, this issue of demographic trendings is a very, very relevant topic to the provision of legal services and what we do in the community for our clients. First, some of the research that we found out is that there is a clear trending change in demographics as it applies to non-English speaking populations across the country. Particularly the latest 2010 census data shows that the country is clearly diversifying both as to ethnicity, but more particularly language. Second, these same populations are now seeking assistance in legal aid programs across the country. And so this trend is beginning to impact the way we provide and access these populations for our programming. At the same time, as you know, and I've been in legal services for 31 years, the philosophy of legal services is equal access to justice to all seeking our services. Unfortunately, the historical problem to access legal services in my years of legal services experience has been and still is the language barrier. Thus, the demographics for the country are changing and will continue to change. It is abundantly clear that for legal services to fulfill its philosophy and mission of equal access, that we need to come up with, and there's a need for an interpretive and operational concept and model that can accomplish a number of goals at the same time. First, allow access to legal services programs for non or limited English speaking populations seeking our legal help. The second piece is that, once the client is in, we need to deliver high quality translation and interpretation to our ongoing clients. It's one thing to get them in, it's another thing to actually provide that service on an ongoing basis as it applies to retainers, letters, translation of key critical legal documents such as pleadings and other court documents. And the last piece is that we are all facing clear clear, scarce resources in the way we're getting funded. We help poor people and indigent folks, so we have limited resources. To this end, our leveraging of technology and working as a group in various states, we can accomplish this. To this end, one of the proposals that we put was it's a proposal to Ohio to integrate technology for the provision of translation and interpretation for our clients. In Ohio, we have 6 legal aid programs, and as I understand it, sometimes we're all doing our own thing, whether it's web page design or providing our own interpretation translation services in-house or individual contracts. What we found out is that clearly we can access and share the same resources, accounting for confidentiality and other ethical barriers as attorneys. But in the end, we can actually use and leverage technology and systems as a statewide basis to save money, conserve our resources, and help poor people as best as we can with our scarce resources. So the fortunate thing in Ohio is that our proposal has been adopted by one of our main funding sources here, and we're in the process of developing that system. And so to this end, we're extremely happy, and we would be happy and welcome to share any of our information that we've gathered. One of the things that we did do, for example, here at ABLE, is negotiate contracts across the board to lower the rates. For example, one company was charging us almost $4 to $5 a minute for languages. Our language coordinator, Monica, was able to negotiate with one company down to $1.99, and I'm sure we can lower the rate by economies of scale. And that again saves resources, but at the same time it allows us to communicate with populations, and they can access our services for our projects. We believe that as our paper will show when it's published in September, that the demographics and the trends, various trending factors are coming together. Technology, the way it's matured and evolved, as I'm sure Mr. Rios will explain, is right here, right now, and it's a great opportunity for legal aid programs and other programs that help poor people to leverage this technology for a betterment of access to our services. Thank you. Yeah, Claudia.
Okay, thank you, Jesus, and I'm sorry for the technology glitches on my part. I'm gonna take it over and share it now with Dennis Rios from Illinois Legal Aid Online.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for joining us in this webinar. My name is Dennis Rios. I'm the Spanish Content and Outreach Coordinator for Illinois Legal Aid Online. Let me tell you a little bit about my background. I'm a licensed attorney in Mexico. I also have an LLM from the University of Georgia. I was born and raised in Los Angeles in an entirely bilingual environment, so I'm an English and a Spanish native speaker. I have over 10 years of legal experience in immigration, personal injury, civil, and criminal law. In 2004, I completed a 5-year Juris Doctorate program in Mexico and a Master's of Law program at the University of Georgia here in the U.S. I have over 12 years of experience teaching, translating, and interpreting between English and Spanish. In Georgia, I served as a registered court interpreter for the Georgia court system, and I have a great deal of experience working with diverse populations, from indigenous and low-income communities to corporations, NGOs, government institutions, and international organizations. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about the translation project I am working on currently. The translation project is funded through a TIG, so a Technology Initiative Grant. On December 2010, Legal Services Corporation awarded a Technology Initiative Grant to the Legal Assistance Foundation of Metropolitan Chicago, which we call LAF here, to develop the technology to use machine translation to build websites in non-English languages. Now, Illinois Legal Aid Online is a subcontractor on the TIG. As proposed, the TIG project will enhance Illinois statewide website interface, navigation, and content management system to support foreign language. It will also develop an online library rich with critical legal information in Spanish and promote these Spanish resources through targeted outreach and education to Latino communities throughout Illinois. Tools are being built to facilitate the creation of the Merit website. Our content management system, or as we call it, CMS, has already been upgraded to include an API for the Google Translate, and other tools are in the works. It works as a site generator tool, which includes options to select features to include on the Spanish website, as well as a system to map English navigation elements and graphics to foreign language elements. Some of the features available to be generated in the tools are search, legal resources, news, events, and a video library. It also has a survey link, a user feedback system, support for tutorial video, live chat, and help for organizations. To create the Spanish navigation elements, I will review a series of screens in the CMS that map English navigation and layout elements to their Google Translator counterparts. Now, once all forms are reviewed, the approved elements will be stored in LAO's content database, and the website is automatically generated. The site generator tool will produce a website similar in look, feel, and functionality to the original English website. Now, Spanish website users will see a homepage similar to the English website, but the navigation elements will be in Spanish. There will be a link to the Spanish website user survey at the top of the page, which has been created now but hasn't been integrated just yet. And the Illinois Legal Aid banner will remain in English, but the rest of the homepage is going to be in Spanish, except for a link to the English version of the website. There will be a link to a Spanish language tutorial on how to use the site. There will be the ability and the space to add a Spanish language click to call email graphic once we have the click to call program running, which is the live chat service, which will be staffed by Spanish speakers or bilingual staff. There will also be a link to a Spanish video library, news, and events as well. The functionality of the website will be similar to the English website, and a user will be able to type in search terms in Spanish, which will then return a list of Spanish language content pieces that will appear on the search results page. Now, at the bottom of the web page, the helpful organization section will list the local legal services provider or providers in the zip code, depending on the zip code entered in the website user. I will be working with the staff from the legal services organizations who serve the Spanish speakers in translating their existing English content into Spanish. Now, our Director of Technology Development will build functions in the CMS for the legal services organization website administrators to be able to add descriptions in languages other than English. Now, the functionality will also be added to allow registered advocate users to post Spanish language news and events to the Spanish website. Translation of content on the website is done through an integration of Google Translate into the CMS, or the content management system. Now, I simply select an existing piece of content, which is in English, I then click to select a language from a drop-down menu to which I want to translate it to. And basically with the push of a button, a new piece of content is created in the new language, and it copies over metadata associated with the original content, like jurisdiction, problem codes, content types, CMS types, etc. It doesn't copy over related articles. These have to be added by the content staff for each piece of new content that's created.
Do you want me to give you the screen or not yet?
Yes, please, if I can show you what it looks like. So this is what our website looks like. So on the left, I have the English version, and then on the right, I have the Spanish version. So as you can see, this is the GuideMe content, which basically what a GuideMe is bundled content. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for discrete legal topics, and it consists of a series of clickable tabs. As you can see here, we have introduction, common questions, forms and letters, related articles, which contain some videos, some other articles in PDF formats. We have the Find Legal Help, which depending on the zip code you enter here. We'll provide you with the organizations available. So for this zip code, it guides you to carpools. So basically the way Google Translate, which has been integrated into our CMS using the API, works is as follows. So this is what the user sees, the GuideMe. Now the background where I work and do the translation and work looks like this. So, all right, so this is a piece of content that's live right now. So you can see the box here is active to make the content live. Now, if I wanted to translate this, which is, again, all in English, I go to the drop-down box, translate to, click on Spanish, and click go. So, and it takes a little bit. So right now it's translating all the content, and it's going to populate all of these boxes: the title, the author description, keywords. So there it is. And so it translates and populates each box, which I then go and review the translation. Obviously, being a machine translation, it has its limitations. So once I go in, review what the machine translated, I look at the GuideMe builder. So it's done a translation here for the introduction. I then go in, do the edits. If I want to add glossary terms in Spanish, for people to understand certain more complex terms, then I can do that. I go on over to the common questions. So it has like, ¿qué es un poder de abogado? ¿Puedo cancelar un poder notarial? So if we clicked on them, it gives you an explanation to the common questions. So the unique thing about this is that with a click of a button, as you just saw, this system immediately creates a new piece of content on the website, which looks like this here. So this was the back end that I just showed you where I'm working at. And once I'm done doing the edits for the introduction, the common questions, the steps, which kind of guide you through what you need to do if you need to file forms or applications and go to court. And then we have the forms tab here that then will show you if there is any automated forms available for people to use. But that's the back end. So, and this is what it looks like. So for example, we have this piece of content that I just translated last week. So this is for people who are behind on their mortgage payments. So, estoy atrasado con los pagos de mi casa. So you go in, as you see, there's an introduction for people to read generally what this GuideMe is and how it's going to help you with your problem. Then you click on preguntas comunes or common questions, and it shows you the most common questions. When you click on them, it'll have an explanation to your question. You can go back. If there's certain forms that you can use, and then it'll ask you for your zip code in order to locate the appropriate form for your county or your area. So once I type that zip code, it shows, for example, here you have a qualified written request here, which has an automated document that you can use. Then if you go over here to the artículos relacionados or related articles, there's 2 videos. So there's one which talks about foreclosure, just a general perspective. So if you click on that, it'll show you a video in Spanish, which kind of gives you a general knowledge of what foreclosure is like in the process.
So for the audience, we are getting your questions. There's some questions about continuing support for the Google API Translate and all this. We can address those towards the end. Do you want me to go back to the main set of screens to talk a little bit more about how the project is organized and what the end goals are in terms of the number of materials that you want to expedite with this hybrid MT machine translation and very experienced interpreter intervention, Dennis?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let me go back. So one of the reasons, that I think this project is really exciting is Dennis laid out his experience very clearly when he started. And so this is combining a statistical machine translation package with a very experienced human interpreter, which I think is key in anything that is doing machine translation. We're not suggesting that this be done only with the machine translation and only without some serious review by somebody seriously qualified. So do you want me to stay here, Dennis, or do you want me to go down?
This is good. This is good, Claudia.
Okay.
So, all right. So as I mentioned, the TIG, it's a 2-year project. So again, now in order to develop a Spanish website, which is, it's a collaborative process, we've put together a Spanish website advisory committee. Now, the members of the Spanish website advisory committee, or as we call it here, the SWAC, are fluent Spanish speakers who are leaders in their respective organizations and who have strong ties to the Latino Spanish-speaking community in Illinois. Now, the committee consists of 7 members, and the 7 members are from the following organizations. It's the Legal Assistance Foundation of Metropolitan Chicago, Land of Lincoln Legal Services, Prairie State Legal Services, Legal Assistance Foundation, and these 3 are all the LLC-funded organizations here in Illinois. We also have the National Immigration Justice Center, MALDEF, for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund. We have also a member from Latinos Progresando and another member from Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Chicago. Now, the mission of the Spanish Website Advisory Committee is basically to guide, promote, advise, and support Illinois Legal Aid Online in its work and its efforts to better serve the Illinois lower-income Spanish-speaking community and their advocates as well by increasing access to justice. Now, some of these specific tasks that the committee is advising on is selection and prioritization of the existing English content to be translated. One of the limitations of the TIG is that we're limited to translating existing content, so we can't develop new content under this TIG. So the advisory committee has been helping us and advising us in selecting what content is the best to have translated for the Latino or Spanish-speaking community here in Illinois. They're also assisting in website usability testing and content review, identifying opportunities for content development and contribution, outreach and promotion of the website, They're also assisting in promoting the use and access of the website in the Spanish-speaking community here in Illinois, and providing feedback as far as content on the website and the different elements that we have available. Now, the website is set to launch in January of 2012. So right now, we're focusing on translating the content. Before the TIC, Illinois Legal Aid Online had 2,300 English pieces. Now, 172 pieces were in Spanish. We're hoping that the goal is that when the Spanish website launches in 2012, we'll have 500 pieces of content in English. I'm sorry, in Spanish. Now, when I say pieces, I refer to, there's articles, just general articles. Then we have videos, like the one I showed you earlier. Automated forms, like the one I was showing you as well on the GuideMe, which can be used for the diverse different purposes. And the GuideMes, which was the actual piece of content or bundled content that I was showing you earlier, are, I guess, our most popular content, since it kind of bundles everything together and guides you through what you need to do. And so the GuideMe has, as I showed you, the introduction, the common questions section, which just answers common questions in regards to the legal topic or the problem the person is facing. It then takes you to the steps. If you need to present a form or go to court, show up to court, we have several different videos on what you need to do, how to go to the courtroom, what you need to do when you're inside the courtroom, how to check the list for your case number, what to do when you're actually in the courtroom, when you check in with the clerk, what to do when you're before the judge. So just guidelines on what's going on, so it doesn't become, it's not as scary as it may be for most people.
If I may interject here, one of the nice things about the GuideMe, which are basically kind of like a lot of package to go set of tools that would be helpful to anyone helping themselves or doing on bundled representation by themselves and with a lawyer, etc., is that they are translating the NIMSI codes. And so the GuideMes are done by substantive area of law in LSC world. For those of you who are not with LSC, each problem type has a problem code, and they go from 0 to 99. So for example, most legal aid folks keep track of their time and grants and everything by problem code. The area 30s, for example, is anything related to family law. And 32 is divorce, 38 is child support. I mean, it's more than one digit, but generally those are the ones that denote. In the middle of it is like a 6-digit, I think. So they're translating these problem codes, and this is what allows them to bundle all of the resources. So if somebody search for divorce, anything that is tagged with the problem code for divorce, if somebody searches for divorcio in Spanish, anything that is tagged with the same number 32 basically will pull of these materials into the GuideMe. And so that's an exciting part for everybody that's using this classification, because that translation, it's being done as part of the STIC grant. And I think that's a really exciting way to start thinking about bundling and stuff. Sorry for interrupting, Dennis. I just think it's important to highlight that what makes the GuideMe really works is the fact that all the pieces of content are tagged into a translated problem code. So that if you're searching for housing or eviction in Spanish, anything related to that problem code will come into the GuideMe.
Exactly. And as you can see, I mean, it's very easy to use. It guides you well. I mean, with the videos and the common questions, I mean, it gives you, a good general idea of what your problem is, and then goes specific, with the steps and the forms to exactly what you need to do and where you need to go to solve your problem, your legal issue. Now, we're also, when the website launches also in 2012, we're also, like I said, working on having a live chat or live help program in Spanish. So that resource will be available as well if the person is having problems locating a certain piece of content or article or the help that they need, they'll be able to click on a live chat to have somebody, a person, a Spanish speaker, guide them through the website.
And that's an excellent segue because I'm gonna pass let Leah take the lead.
Okay, hi everybody, welcome. I'm the project director of Law Help New York. It wasn't correct to say I'm the project director of City Bar Justice Center. No, I sit at the City Bar Justice Center. Anyway, Law Help New York is the client website for New York State. We cover the whole state, and our mission is to bring legal information to people online, and we see ourselves as serving the people who are unable to find legal help, both by providing information about where to get legal help and also know your rights resources. We've been providing information in many languages and in Spanish for quite a few years. We developed a Spanish URL in order for people to go directly to the website without having to even go to English first. But this is the home page, and many people may know that we're going to have a new template pretty soon. But so this is the existing template. We have how to video in English and Spanish, and you can see from the home page, even though this is just a picture, so it says live help is unavailable, but we provide live help in English and Spanish. It's a chat, and I'll tell you more about it later. This is a picture of our online video in Spanish about how to use the site, and we're going to have to redo it with the new website. We do a lot of outreach, and here are some of our promotional flyers, which we have in English, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, French, and Haitian Creole. And these are the list of languages that we have on Law Help New York. We've done a lot of work to make all of our navigation on the Spanish website in Spanish, and then we've tried to improve, with some limitations in this old template, the navigation for other languages. So in this case, we can all of those other list of languages are not for legal referrals for the most part, but for no rights resources, and we recruit law students and others to help us translate. We work on a very low budget, but we also tried in the last couple of years to add organizational information both in Spanish and where particular communities are served. We added, like, this is an example for the area in Brooklyn where there are a lot of Russian speakers. So we added it in Russian. You'd have to click on this, which I can't do here because this is just a picture, but a brief description of the organization, but mostly how to get in touch with them, and their intake hours will be in Russian. Similarly, for this important domestic violence organization, we provide the information in Spanish and in Chinese. So throughout the website, we've been really working on expanding a lot of the Know Your Rights information on language access. So throughout the website, in many, many topic areas, and we cover currently 17 areas of law, we have these kind of categories where I do not speak English. What is my right to receive information in my language? So this is, we've added it throughout the site for all the different topic areas. And here's an example of what we did. New York City adopted a language access rights plan in 2008, and we recruited pro bono lawyers to translate the policies into easy-to-read informationals. And this one is about language access rights in the New York City Department of Education. and they also translated it into the 6 New York City languages. So you can see we have this in Chinese, Italian, Korean, Russian, Spanish, and English. We also added multilingual live help at the beginning of 2010, and we recruit volunteers. We have a coordinator who's an Equal Justice Works AmeriCorps legal fellow who is bilingual, and this year we've recruited more than 80 volunteers to be live help navigators, and we were able to conduct 4,336 chats between April of last year, of 2010, and March of 2011. We have that crazy time frame because I had to do a report for our Iola fund. We don't have that many in Spanish, but we had a few hundred in Spanish chats, and we're doing a lot to promote our live help. We also have a user survey that's been very helpful on our site. We had more than 5,000 responders to our user survey, and what it reveals, these are the demographics of the people who responded on our user survey on the site, and we try to use the demographic information to inform our outreach and to inform the kinds of resources that we're posting on the site. We also began in 2010 a search engine optimization project, which we also did in English and Spanish. We got $7,000 to do paid marketing, and we devoted almost all of that money to Spanish marketing because even though we actually have many resources in Spanish, we have about 700 Know Your Rights resources in Spanish on our website. And by the way, in the last year, we had about a little over 500,000 visitors to the website, and about 3.5 million pages were viewed. We still have way too little usage by the Spanish community. So we decided to really focus on trying to increase Spanish outreach. So we put ads like the one on the right from El Diario in the newspapers. And on the left are like some of our Spanish banner ads that we put on websites. And we geo-targeted ads to over 140 Latino news websites nationwide, and by geo-targeting is when somebody comes on and we identified the zip codes with the most low-income people, and when someone came on from certain zip codes, they would get a banner ad. We used up all of our marketing budget that way. But as you can see, this is not the number of resources, it's really the number of downloads of Spanish Know Your Rights resources. So you can see in 2008, they were downloaded 5,400 times, but after the search engine optimization and Spanish marketing, we almost doubled that in 2010, and I don't have the latest figures through this part of 2011. But part of our search engine optimization plan, we designed blogs because we wanted to drive more traffic to our sites, and also we wanted to sort of be experimenting with all kinds of social media. So we created blogs in English and in Spanish, and we try to make newsworthy articles on our blogs. Here's our Spanish blogs, and the way it works is we link to resources on the main site. We also did the same thing in Twitter, and as you can see, we have a lot more followers in English than in Spanish, but we're still just working on this. As you can see, our page views went up a lot, and we were at about 25,000 in 2008, and now we're at 36,000 in 2010. It's still we put a lot of effort into Spanish outreach, but it's still a major problem. So all the things that we worked on for this kind of search engine optimization and how we implemented it on our Spanish site is all detailed in this guide, which you can get for free just by clicking on or going to this link. And it gives you a step-by-step how to do search engine optimization on your websites, but also how we did it in Spanish for Spanish marketing. And as I said, it's still a real challenge for us. And I guess that's it.
Wow, thank you. That was
I
a lot of information.
I was afraid that we wouldn't have enough time for questions.
Yeah. So for everyone, when we post the final Power Deck, we're going to have a lot of the resources and referrals at the bottom of the slides in the notes. For example, this search engine optimization guide that Leah worked on, that was shared in a similar LSNTAP call on August 10th. And they went a little bit more in depth on what SEO means and how to use it to increase traffic to your Spanish websites. But everything in the notes will be annotated, and you will have the URLs and everything. So if don't feel bad if you're wondering where can I get the link, you'll have a chance. So I'm gonna take it over.
Claudia, let me just add one thing that we tried to replicate what we did on search engine optimization on our Spanish site, what we did on our English site. So that'll all be detailed in this guide, how to do that, and that's helped drive traffic to our Spanish site.
Okay, and so I'm going to go through this very fast because I do know that we have some questions already, and we want to encourage questions from the audience. So let me just get. So basically, I think the first thing that I'm gonna tell you is that any language access group has to be localized. So like in real estate, they take your location, location, location. In language access work, it has to be localized. And localization means that you need to understand where your community is coming from, your LEP community is coming from, what type of literacy rates do they have in that particular part of that country or that particular part of the world. And what are the words that may be different from the mainstream language, because sometimes the words can be offensive, even if it's Spanish or even if it's a language. One word may be one thing, another one may be another. So you need to understand what localization is and how to localize your content. The other premise that I always start from is that education and sharing information is about empowerment, and empowerment is ultimately giving people skills and either adding skills or sharpening skills, things that we can learn. And so if we want to be effective, we need to teach in different ways. You know, text is a very cultural thing. Some cultures are text heavy, other cultures are oral. Some cultures have songs. That's how they transmit knowledge. So the good thing right now is that with this explosion of technology, we can benefit from matching the cultural learning style, if there's cultural learning styles, or the individual learning style, with the technology piece to empower that person to improve their lives and be more actualized as a human being. The last thing is that we're not going to get a lot into how to measure and evaluate this. Leah did a good job of showing how they're doing this in New York. But I think that any project, you need to measure your ROI, your return on investment. If you don't have a plan for evaluation and refinement before you start an LEP program, you need to stop and come up with a plan of before and after, because all of these you need to track, was it effective or not. The worst thing that could happen is that you spend a lot of time and you never localize the content enough. So nobody used it because it was either disrespectful or irrelevant to that particular community you were trying to use. So those are like kind of like my three big ideas. as you have seen, and Leah kind of gave us a good idea, and also Dennis and Jesus, that technology can be used in a lot of different settings and places, and particularly as you match the tool to the place. And I'm not going to run through examples of all of this, but you know, it can be from a hearing where some state courts are already working with remote video interpreting, all the way to at home where somebody can watch a video and somebody could do a podcast, somebody could go into a little world and have an experience if that's the world they learn. And I'm going to highlight some of this. Now, technology is not necessarily just to give people some information on your rights. And technology is also something that you can use. There are different tools that people are not using to have people self-assess their own needs, screen themselves for particular types of risks in certain types of cases. You can use it to expand language services. And one thing that I really encourage people, if people have not dusted off the 2006 LSE performance criteria standards that were done after the ABA issued the model rules for legal aid, I encourage people to download the OPP 2006 performance standard criteria, because when you read those and you think about the census and what's going on in your particular zip codes and the new communities that are coming in, or not new, but the real distinct needs, then you can really start thinking how technology can help you move through the 6 performance quality standards. And you don't have to be LSE funded to benefit from what those contain, because if you're looking to be an effective legal aid provider or an effective court or an effective library, at the end, it's all about communication, and communication is about quality. So I'm not gonna go into this one that much. Some examples of things that I've come across that are really interested. Some of these are more like one-off projects that once you create the tool, you can insert anywhere in a waiting room. You could put it for people at home. It could be something that people see before they do a mediation, so that, or before they go to a hearing. Georgia created these wonderful informationals with public, with collaboration with public libraries and law schools. They put this on CDs and they sent them to all the public libraries in Georgia. There's basically 4 informationals. These are flash-based. When you click on this, and we're gonna give you the links when we post on the presentation, when you click on these, the person can hear a very nice recording, high quality translation piece on law and government, or marriage, or housing. There's various subject areas. So this is an example of a one-off project that then can be used in a lot of different contexts. This is one that has become a favorite of mine, because it's a holistic approach to giving people skills, not necessarily just giving them the law. And it's something that I learned in British Columbia. It is targeting different audiences. So if you're a child dealing with divorce and separation, you can go into the child world and you get, and I will show you a little bit more what I mean by holistic. They actually worked on this with multiple disciplines, psychology, social work, not just lawyers. A couple things that struck me just when I saw this the first time is that it's English, French right away. So if you're French speaking, you immediately know that this is friendly. If you're in the French side, it does the same thing. And then it targets different age groups and even professionals. So even if you're not a lawyer and you cannot really want to explore the psychological ramifications, some of the people you're working with, you can go here and get some real good quality information. And it's, like I say, it's an experience. So in the children's one, which is the one that probably the most difficult one to do, they created this little world. It's all flash-based, and it talks about the changes, you know, from what may change in your life if your parents divorce or separate. Why do parents divorce and separate? A lot of times kids feel guilty, and there's a lot of really good suggestions about how to deal with the feelings of guilt, etc. You know, more psychological, try psychology things here. Then there's this library that has legal resources. Then there's other tools, things, activities, games that kids can play to deal with their issues. It is actually really well done. So if you have time and you're interested more in experiential learning or sharing empowerment, this could be a model that I haven't seen here in the US. So and here it is, the website in English again. It makes it very easy that if you end up here and you're an English speaker, you can go back. And so right away you know that it's a site that's available in both languages, and then it gives you your materials. One thing about the library is that they designed the library site so that it can be done by the equivalent of zip codes in Canada. So one piece of this tool, you can upload the legal content to vary by the different provinces, because the law varies by province over there, just like it does by state here. Video projects, I'm not going to say a lot about this. Just want to highlight that there is a video sharing library project that is being funded through LSC TIC funding, and Atlanta Legal Aid Society is taking the lead. I don't know if it's been deployed or not, but there will be soon a place where people can post their videos, etc. Videos can be really great because some communities learn by hearing or by hearing stories, and some law schools have some really advanced video classes that they're using to teach law students how to become advocates and use video in evidence. So Illinois is one of the most advanced ones I've seen, and so in the bottom of this, I'm referencing all the links to that in case people are interested. And the last piece for me is the concept of the GuideMe. Is the concept of bundling, like we talked about the GuideMe or the to-go concept. A lot of different states are doing this, not only with non-pro bono.net type tools, but also with their own Illinois Legal Aid Online. Created, for example, an online service just for King County where all of the content is in Spanish, and it's targeting the self-help community. These things are possible now. There are the online forms and Law Help Interactive, which is the national infrastructure. We launched the whole experience in Spanish in December 2010. Right now, there's about 15 live interviews on online tools. I'm not gonna explain what it is, but I just want people to know. And some states are creating completely monolingual interviews where the whole experience is monolingual and the materials printed in English, Spanish, or both. Other states are creating bilingual interviews where if you click on one of these pop-ups, you get the text both in English and Spanish. So people can see the text in both languages, which I think is key when you're dealing with monolingual English speakers that are acting as assistants or as advocates. In hearings, there's some excitement right now going on in the court community with remote video interpreting. Some of this has been done very well in healthcare settings. So it's something that could work if done well and heavily supervised. And for those of you who have not seen the video, there's a video here that you can watch to see what this is more, because I know there's some due process concerns with videos. After hearings, we're working on a pilot right now where some courts will be able to print orders in English and then in plain English and plain Spanish so that people can abide by those orders. This is a project that will wrap up at the end of 2012, and the hope is to see if order compliance increases. This is being done with Texas and California and Law Help Interactive. And lastly, because I do want to open up the mics, a set of language access resources for the different audiences that we have with us. As always, any of us panelists are willing to respond one-on-one to questions. I'm going to stop and just encourage people to raise their hand while I read some of the questions that we got, and then maybe some of the other panelists can address. For Dennis, the question was, what type of case management system is Illinois Legal Aid Online using? And one question was, is that the Pro Bono Net template? And I know it's not the Pro Bono Net template. I don't know exactly the technology behind ILAO's case management system. Do you know, Dennis, the software or if anybody knows, can you chime in?
I'm sorry, Claudia, I do not, but I can certainly get that information.
Okay. I don't know if it's a Drupal website or not. Illinois Legal Aid Online does all the statewide website creation for attorneys and the public at large for Illinois. Pro Bono Net does it for about 28 states. It's not our template, it's their template. But it's a TIC-funded program, so when the project is finished, a report will go out and they will share as much as can be shared so other groups can create similar content development templates. The other question was, there was a question about the Google API translation that you're using in Illinois, Dennis. A question about support being disconnected in December. Have you heard anything about that, or?
Yeah. So initially, and I believe this was last month, we heard that Google had decided to discontinue the API for Google Translate. However, after several organizations kind of protested to it, they decided to keep it. However, it seems there is going to be a charge to use it. How much has not been said or disclosed yet. So we'll have to see. But as far as we know, Google has decided to keep the API, but there is going to be a certain cost for it.
Okay. Christy, I know that you had a question. I'm going to unmute you. Christy Cruz, in case you want to post it or comment, or maybe it was more of a comment.
Yeah, actually, it was answered throughout the presentation, and so that's fine.
Okay.
You clarified it. It was about the sort of the coupling of the machine translation with human translation, sort of as a editor or reviewer, and you clarified and made that point really well. So thanks.
Okay. Okay. Cynthia Vaughn, I see that you have a question.
Okay. I was just wondering where the decision has been posted regarding Google keeping API. Is there a reference link or something that we can see?
I will have to send you that information. That information was actually, the one who told me was actually our technology director. I'm not sure where she got the information from, but if you'd like to shoot me an email, like my email's on the slides, I think, I can surely get you that information.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I had seen it way back last December, but they never did it. So I didn't know that they had noticed it again for this December. Okay, Michael Prince, your hand's up, so I'm going to unmute you.
Yes, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Google API is not it's not decided to be discontinued, but it is on the table to be discontinued, but it hadn't been yet. That's something that we had looked into with our website here. And
okay.
If you all would like, I will email the group as far as I find out, because we are in touch with Google here, trying to find out if it's going to be around.
Or if you want to add something to the chat on the bottom, we can also capture it that way, if you have it handy. But thank you for that info. Anyone else have any questions? You're still unmuted, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, great. I just posted in the chat box the link to Google's position about Translate API, and that they are encouraging website translation to use the Google Translate element.
Right.
Which it looks like that is what you may be using in Illinois. And if I recall, and I'm probably wrong, but I'll throw it out there, I think your CMS is a custom, organic, homegrown system. That's why it's so powerful, cool, and gorgeous. So I'm wondering, I've always been envious. I love Illinois. I want what you have. And I'm in Ohio, for folks who don't know me. But it's wonderful. But I'm just wondering if you're actually using the translate element versus the API now, but I would really be curious to know.
We are using the API. I'm sure of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian Rowe, I see you have a question, so I'm going to unmute you, and everybody else is staying unmuted in case it's a related question.
Oh, I just added a link to a June 3rd article in the chat about Google possibly developing a paid version.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully this was helpful and it gives you some new ideas on different discrete tools or more comprehensive projects that you can start thinking about. And we will add, once MIE publishes the paper that Jesus Salas and his other co-authors will publish, we'll also add it in there in case people want to read his analysis going back to 1980 and seeing how things are not necessarily totally changed, but how we have more of the same in a lot of ways, and use this as an inspiration to take some action to improve communication and quality of legal services. And thank you all for joining, and let us know if we can be of any further help with the topic.